can understand why. I mean, the joy of. I have a vague recollection of my aunt, as a little tiny thing. And again, this could be my imagination. My wife will say, "I got my aunt's hand," and I remember my aunt. And I had to be like 3 or 4, and she's like, "Freddie, you got to remember this day, Freddie, remember this day. It's so important." And I'm thinking that if that really happened, and I'm not losing my mind here, that it was related to this wonderful day. A lot of marriages here. The people behind you. I'm kind of taken with that headdress. It's very reminiscent of Roman antiquity.
Yeah.
It's really a nice looking setup. But anyway, they were local and they got married along with a lot of other people here. There's a whole thing of romances in the area.
Was it 1940 or
Oh, I thought you didn't know. Not bad, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Good like fall.
That's what the men came back to in World War II compared to Vietnam.
71, 72.
Over here you have the coupon system. There was rationing in the Second World War. And I can remember as a kid, because you get into the 50s, there were still cars around that still had the decals on the front for gasoline. A decal is what, actually my father had a B. The A decal was just for, everybody was given 3 gallons a week, something like that. But if you were transporting people to the shipyards, you were involved in it, then you got a B and they gave you more gas. And then of course you had higher levels, C, D, and E for police, first responders, clergymen. They all had a lot bigger allotment. So when you're pulled into a gas station, it would be determined by a sticker and your coupons. I learned recently that I thought the coupon was currency. There are a lot of coupons. Like you had coupons for meat. I thought you actually gave the coupons, 10 coupons would get you, a hamburger's worth of meat. Not so. The coupon just entitled you to make the purchase. The butcher would take the coupon and he would see what it is, and then he would let you buy up to what that allowed, which was interesting. See a lot of criticisms of the American population compared to others. Like I was reading recently about war years in England, and how they were so upset that the American women were all angry about this, that, and the other thing. And in comparison, it's all relative. In comparison to what they were going through and on the continent, it was pretty much cushiony. My uncle was an area warden. I can remember wearing this helmet right here with the civil defense thing on the front. And early in the war, they did have blackouts where they would black out whole cities and stuff. But it became evident very quickly that there was no immediate threat to us. And that, incidentally, is when the base changed from a defensive base to a training base. They realized that nobody's going to be coming up through the Delaware Bay, and so they switched from being a defensive, where they would fly interceptors. But very quickly, it was determined that nope, they didn't have any long-range bombers. They didn't have any real navy to speak of that could come and bombard us. So they stopped with the blackouts. But very early in the war, they did have them. And I don't remember this. I was just too tiny. But these area wardens would go out and they would walk down the street and look for little bits of light thrown through the windows, and then raise hell and do their thing. Yeah, I always liked that helmet. They held on to it. They did a lot more, and I really should be able to speak a little bit more about what they did. I think they did training too, like how to fight a fireball. You had a little thermite bomb. These were big problems in Europe, well, a very big problem in Japan, because we purposely were dropping fireball. We wanted to burn out 12 square miles of Tokyo, which we commenced to do. But the way to put those things out are not to put water on it, but to put shovel sand on it. And for a while there, they were encouraging in your attics to make sure you had a bucket of sand around, things of that nature. But the thing was that the whole country was mobilized, towards a recognizable evil thing in the world. That was the horror of the war, but also the beauty of the way the whole country mobilized in order to deal with the horrors, particularly in Germany. This is a little tiny, this is a very localized air raid siren. This might deal with a small factory or something like this. Imagine this thing about 40 times the diameter, and think of the London Blitz. That got everybody's attention, and you start pointing someplace. All right, go up.
Everybody awake now after that?
Whoa.
That's what I need to wake me up, actually. I got a super loud one because I'll sleep through it otherwise.
Yeah.
Over here you have the you find these in the VA hospitals, you find them on bases. They're kind of all over the place, but it seems to me that this really became a fad at the end of the Vietnam War. And what it is, it's a memorial to people who either are missing in action or the ones who were POWs. And POWs were a big thing in Vietnam. And it's very symbolic, all sorts of symbolism there. First of all, the rifle, the bayonet would be put on, it would be put in the ground, and the helmet on top, in order to, a battlefield is a changing thing. He's out in the open right now, but, in a day or two, when the rear echelon folks come up and start to deal with the battlefield, they might not be able to find that body. And this was kind of the indication that there was a body in the area. So his helmet would go on top. And the rest of it, all sorts of symbolism. The white cloth indicates purity of intention. It's a little bit idealistic because I think a lot of people went into the military grudgingly, this, that, and the other thing. But still, all things considered, there was purity of effort. You really did think of yourself as defending democracy, doing God's work, maybe even. The red, of course, is blood. They have a piece of lemon there for the bitterness of being abandoned or feeling abandoned, like John McCain and Hanoi Hilton. Salt for tears, for crying. All sorts of symbolism there, and that's what that's about. And they've got one in, I guess, in every VA canteen they have that. I know Wilmington and Philadelphia have it.
Walter Reed has one.
Second.
In the cafeteria they have it.
Where's that?
Walter Reed has that.
Oh, Walter Reed, yeah, I would think. Playing in the gas wing down here.
And he makes a point to tell.
I wonder if they got some bodies back. I wonder if they got the DNA on this guy was part of that.
They did that,
Trump just got a bunch of people.
Tarawa. They went back to Tarawa
Yeah.
about 10 years ago, and they're still going back and doing it. Exhuming bodies.
That was really terrible. Where they landed on the coral.
Yep.
So he was one of them, and Gabrinsky, the guy who shot down 34, he was also kind of a coincidence. He went on to get 3 kills during the war, trained in a lot of different areas. This is Bob. He had 40 kills. This was, I think, one of the highest aces that we had. For some reason that I can't determine, he left the military before the end of the war, became a test pilot, and on practically the last day of the war, he died test flying a Lockheed Lightning, the P-80, the F-80. Kind of screwy. He lasted the whole war, got out of the military, and as a civilian was flying the P-80 and died test flying. This is a wreckage down now.
You're all right. Don't worry about it, Tom.
Aircraft crashed. 13 of them crashed out in the ruins. body crashed offshore, and that was the only body that wasn't reported. It was out off the ocean.
Excuse me, sir.
But this is what people dug up in the bush. These are some of the targets that they were trained on to shoot. They had an actual full-size tank. Here's a destroyer, full-size destroyer. These are all made of.
My arm's getting tired.
Just the way how you.
I know, it's
software and
perfect.
stuff like that.
I should have been doing this all along.
But you can see what a dashboard looks like on a crashed boat. This is 60 millimeter water. Okay. And I was with Waters for a while, but that was my water over there. It was a heavier one, 81 millimeter.
81, oh yeah.
81.
Train on them.
But this is some water. This is something you just drop into a tube, and you have increments on here, depending on your range. If you want maximum range, you leave all the increments on. I mean, they're flash. When they go off, it's like flash and explosive gas. If it was a shorter range, you just tear it off. Same with the 81 millimeter. But these were carried right with the grunts. You go out on the sweep, you know, there'd be a mortar, 81 millimeter, and he'd have a backboard with like 20 of these on his backboard, and then there's a gun and stuff like that. But it was very handy for close in indirect sport, because it shoots up and down on top. 81s were a lot less mobile. 81s, you know, you're lumbering along kind of backwards.
I carry plate, paint, the base plate. That sucker's heavy.
Have you carried one?
Oh yeah. Part of the training.
We had, talking about it basically, we were up on the DMZ and we did a forced launch. And when we got to the end of it, we saw one of these ammo humpers. He didn't have the base plate. Everybody is humping all this ammunition, and he didn't have the base plate. He got tired of carrying it, and he just left it. Without the base plate, you can't put the tube in the ground without this great big iron thing under it, or it just goes right down when you shoot it. So they beat the king sheet out of him, sent him to the rear, and I don't remember how we got it back. That's all foggy after that. But I remember he was a small guy. Why this guy was assigned to carry that? I mean, there's no excuse for what he did. No excuse. But why give him practically the heaviest item and have him carry it? It didn't work. All sorts of ordnance. Some of it totally inappropriate to the base here. Who was it that was just in the bunk? Peter? Yeah, there's your bunk bed.
That's your bunk bed.
That is. I like it. Nice stain, nice color. Huh?
Not like the metal.
Yeah, real.
Yeah.
The nitpicky stuff in Paris Island, you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
That had 45 degrees, not 46, 45 degrees.
You didn't have bunk beds.
Say again?
Huh?
You didn't have.
Yeah.
They got the cord off the bed. It was tight.
Yeah, if it was,
it had to be
if you were in the bed, who would it
You had to go underneath.
They had air conditioned barracks.
It's more private, not before.
Yeah, well, that's the way it was. Depending on their mood, how much they wanted to escalate. You know, they find one guy screwed up, and they would go down and just tear the whole thing up. They would grab these, empty the lockers,
You didn't
take
have
it
to let
around,
that
mix it up. And
45 degree
They had
apple on your
total-
bed.
and say, they go back in 20 minutes, make sure it's
Oh, the
fine.
army.
That kind of thinking. But as terrible as it was, actually, after a while, I don't know about you guys, but after about 4 or 5 weeks, you know, you could actually laugh a little bit. I mean, you would never laugh out loud, or you would be taken apart. But you actually could see the humorous side of what they were doing to you.
And our rifles had to be cable locked, to your rack.
Yep.
And the
Yeah,
drill
but it
sergeant
had-
would come by and yank on that,
But
and if
that-
it wasn't locked, he'll take your whole rifle, break it apart.
At the time, you could sleep on the beach.
And of course, the proper rifle, you stuck with it.
Yeah.
You got in bed and you had your rifle there, close it up with you.
Yep.
You had your sweet tunes.
That bad making was terrible.
But this would never pass inspection. This would never pass.
No.
You know, even looking at this, you know, just the fact that it's in there kind of a little bit crooked.
That's what I expect. That's what I expect from the Air Force, though. This is an Air Force museum. I mean, it's not a Marine Corps museum. You know what I'm saying?
You didn't have soda cans.
That's like Marine
Well,
Corps,
no,
man.
You see that? Because I know it's recorded, but I was like,
Oh no! This is going on YouTube.
You see what it says there?
You know, my son's in the Air Force now. Where?
Right there on the
I know you remember this.
Oh yeah.
I know you remember.
This is unsacked.
I just
This
told
is
him, I said, we
unsacked.
had to go underneath the
Oh
racks,
yeah.
make sure that thing was tight.
Mostly low quality rifles. I mean, they're all functional, but you got a couple of Akriskas here, the Japanese rifle. And I was playing with one about a year ago now over in next door. There's a gun shop, and I was thinking about buying a rifle. And she brought out an Akriska, and it sounded like it's a very good rifle, but it's like from the 19th century. And when you use the bullet, it sounds like two cans rattling together. It's like, it sounds like a piece of junk, but it was a very durable rifle. Of course, totally outclassed by the M1 rifle. This had only 5 rounds in it, and you had a bolt action for each one. Whereas with the Grand, it was bang, 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 bang. You know, as this guy gets 1 round off and is halfway through the second before he gets 4 or 5 bullets.
And when I served, I couldn't wait to get my hands on one that gave me an M14.
Oh, the M14, that was my rifle. I felt most comfortable with that. Say again?
I like that rifle.
The M14.
I wanted to carry on with
Oh, please don't see it.
Oh, no, the M16 was C1 over here.
Air Force number 1. 25 caliber. That's what they were, right?
I'm not sure.
You got PTSD, gonna take your rifles away.
Oh yeah.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
No.
Yeah.
This is a fully decked out paratrooper. And this is definitely not Second World War, just by virtue of the helmet. And this is done in the Griswold pack. And I'm not really sure about this, where his weapon would be. So it's a weapon container. But he looks, and of course the uniform is much later date. He's a captain. He's a captain in the infantry. He's airborne qualified, Ranger qualified. Of course, he's airborne qualified. He's in the gear. And if you see the pictures of him loading up for the Normandy invasion, you know, it was like 3 or 4 guys pushing each other into the because they were so overloaded. But the way this would work is once the parachute was deployed, this is a drop bag. Any parachute people here? Well, what would happen is once your chute is deployed, you would drop the drop bag and it would go down like 20 feet below you. And different people would have different stuff. Like a medic, it would be all sorts of plasma and medications and compression bandages, just all sorts of stuff like. If you were an engineer, you probably have all sorts of explosive in there, C4s, you know, probably not dynamite, but C4, so pertaining to your mission. Some people would land and just leave it there for follow-on people that would get use out of it. But the way this works is it's a static line arrangement. He's got his main parachute on his back. This right here, I don't want to take off, but it's a hook. And you would unhook that, and you would have a line, like that line up on top, but it'd be much lower, it'd be a cable. And there'd be no interruption, it had to be an uninterrupted cable. And he would hook up. So he gets to want to hook up, stand up, hook up, and shove it to the door kind of thing. So word comes, the light turns from red to green to yellow. That means everybody get ready. As soon as it goes red or whatever,
Green.
Once it goes green, everybody's out the door. You know, beep, 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 there's no hesitation or anything like that. Even if you wanted to hesitate, the momentum just carries everybody right out the door. As you fall away from the plane, this thing is still connected to that cable. And you fall so many feet, and that tugs the parachute out of this, and hopefully that does the job. If it doesn't do the job, because remember, these jumps are very, very low, like 800 feet. 800 feet is like super low, but that was about probably the norm. you have only a matter of seconds to deal with it. So they're counting 1, 2, 3 as they go out the door, and if that chute isn't deployed, if they haven't felt the chute at that point, they go to their reserve right here. And their immediate action would be to slam this hand over here, grab this, pull it, and punch it. And that would hopefully get the reserve parachute out. I had occasion to do just that. I was a sports jumper, and my very last jump involved the use of the reserve. But what I did was these, and I'm surprised to see these two, probably not in the World War. These are known as cape wells. These are how you disengage from the parachute itself. You know, and what I did in my situation was I looked up and I had a fouled main. And what you do is this should fall out so you can get it. This falls down and you get these two little cables come out. You grab them and you pull them forward, and bing, you're falling loose of the parachute. And that's what I did. And then I deployed this. But I had forgotten a couple of cardinal rules, and I almost screwed it up. I almost rotated through as the chute was going out. As the chute was deploying, I was rotating through it, and I could feel the lines on my chest, which shouldn't have been. Meaning I was about to rotate, but just before I rotated through, it snapped me. It opened me up and threw me out of the way. So, a little more story from Freddie. And I keep the drogue chute. Because I went and got the chute afterwards. I kept the whole parachute for quite a while, thinking the kids might like it, but there was no interest in it. I finally got rid of it. But I got the drogue chute. I keep it right in my study to remind me of what an eagle I used to be. Now my wings are totally clipped. Look at that. I used to do that. Anyhow. Vietnam, not a whole lot here on really Vietnam. I'd like to see a lot more. But again, this is really a Second World War orientated thing. There's only so much room.
Did anybody ever keep a piece of NPC? You know,
I've got an NPC.
I have
you got
some.
NPC?
I have some.
Yeah, I haven't
Yeah.
seen it in any.
I have some. I'll bring it next time. I have some.
Yeah, I've got
Funny money,
funny money.
I got it.
Military payment.
Because you couldn't take out NPC more than what you rating. Couldn't take it home. We gambled a lot, but we couldn't take it home. You could only take home what you were making at the time.
They reissued it when I was there because it was getting too much inflation, I guess. And I was worried that the Vietnamese,
Yeah.
they were doing that to us in the Revolutionary War. The British were printing money,
Yeah.
devaluing our money. So they just reprinted the new money and reissued it. And stuff. Yeah, I say something else.
I've been in a lot of this.
This little model here, this is an A4.
Yeah.
And we've got some aviation people here, right? Ever deal with
You're
A4s?
a mess.
This
You
is
don't know?
a model.
That's
This is a model of the airplane that's right outside. It's an actual model of that airplane. We got that and we tracked down, not me, but they tracked down the actual pilot who flew this thing off of the Hancock. It was an aircraft there. And he was around when we got this thing. And there it is out in the back, and that's a model of it.
That's the Phantoms from the Marine Corps, right? The 4 Phantoms.
No, this is an A6. Sky Raider. Not Sky Raider, Skyhawk. Skyhawk, yeah. Started as a yeah. That carried half the load of a B-17.
I know. I heard that. I can't believe it. I said,
Half the load of a B-17. Okay, pretty much gives you a picture of what's going on here. There's an M16, and Ed is saying he has derogatory things to say about it, and so do I. It initially caused a lot of fatalities because it didn't have the forward assist. You know, during the operation, we get to the stage of chambering, and the bolt wouldn't go forward and chamber properly. And once that happens, you have no, because it's all enclosed. Like any other rifle, you can break it and do something, but not that. And people were supposedly found, on hilltops and stuff with rods, cleaning rods, trying to clear their rifles. But that got straightened out, and then they attributed that to McNamara. And it's another example of rushing a weapon system into production before it was worked out. I never liked it. I never felt that, I knew I could see the damage that it did. I never fired this in combat. But I could see the damage that they do. But still, you didn't get the feel that you got from an M1 or an M14. it had the advantage of being very light. You could carry a lot more ammo, but still that M14. Actually, the most reassuring. I was armed for a while with a 45, and I had a shoulder holster. When I went to sleep at night, knowing this pistol, when I was laying in the mud, whatever, just knowing when I went to sleep that if I needed it, that thing was right there. I didn't go have to look for the rifle or pick it. It was right there. I really had a sense of security from it. Of course, it's pretty worthless in a firefight. Somebody coming in.
But it's good because you're that close, you're in trouble.
45 had a hell of a kick.
My
too.
friend,
Yeah,
my
that
friend's
long.
fired
Yeah.
one in combat.
I fired one. I never fired one of these in combat, but I fired it in training.
Good for your ears.
And I still listen to the ringing 35 years later.
Yeah.
Because we were shooting sub-caliber, little 22 inserts, so you could practice accuracy. And then we had the option of picking up a regular one. The 22 was nothing, and I forgot that I had a real one, and I did it. And like I say, it's ringing right now. Slightly different pitch than this year. It's a whole different story. But I got 2 different frequencies going on in my head all the time. That's a law. It's disposable. You extend it, you shoot it, you throw it away.
Yep.
I heard a lot of guys
That
tell
was
stories that'll change the title.
Say again.
Hey, hold 'em up.
Good, man.
Yeah, it is rough stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And anything
clean
that
it
you
up.
could otherwise.
Mhm.
I didn't see him to.
Michelle should be over here. You'll take one shoulder, I'll take the other one.
Michelle
It
takes
was
enough
developed
Yeah.
101 year ago.
He does.
101 years ago, this came out.
We should carry her.
So
I
this is
know.
over a century
I
old.
know.
The design is a century old. And they can't improve on it. It's a heavy machine gun. It's 50 cal. Has a lot of punch to it. And when I left the military in '96, the Abrams, even the latest version of the Abrams, it still had this. And it's just a really superior weapon, and you really can't improve
Who
on it.
makes this?
Say again?
Who made this?
Browning.
Browning made it. They made the 45.
Yeah. But the thing is, it's particularly advantageous because it's an open bolt system. When you stop shooting this, the bolt is not in the chamber. So when you have a red hot barrel and you have a closed bolt system, when you stop shooting, you're putting a bullet, and you don't want to shoot anymore, but that bullet is now in a red hot chamber, and it cooks off. This is an open bolt. When you stop shooting, it's to the rear. When you squeeze the trigger, the whole bolt starts the process again. The kids love this. When the kids see this, they're swarming all over this. They're taking pictures from every angle. They're aiming at each other.
She wants to shoot it.
That's nice.
Yeah, the kids swarm it.
That's amazing.
That's free.
But that's just how we were. The first time we would touch something, that same expression.
Well, we all knew what we were getting into.
I'm trying to get the whole experience here.
She's going
Pete.
to bring this at our meeting.
But
We're gonna
anyway,
go in the parking lot and use it.
this also is what the Thunderbolt
Okay.
used. You had 8 of these, 4 on each wing. Okay.
Oh.
The outboard ones were straight ahead, would shoot straight ahead, and the rest would all taper in.
Did it have cannons on them?
Say again?
Did it have a cannon on it too? Thunderbolt? Did it have a cannon? 20 millimeter
No,
cannon?
not that I'm aware of. But
That's enough.
that's enough. Particularly if it's AP, armor piercing. If you got a black tip, that's armor piercing. It's hardened. They have a round out now. It's not the Rufus. It costs $36 per round, but it does everything. It actually has a sabot. In other words, part of the round disappears, and a smaller thing will punch through enormous amounts of armor. It's incendiary, so when you start a fire, it does everything. And it's also a tracer, so you can see the alarm.
You're striking with that then.
Yeah, 36 cents, these are about $3 a piece, or they were a few years ago. But this thing, Rufus, is 30 some odd dollars. It's a Swedish invention, I think. So it's used really by special forces, right? It's not in the inventory otherwise. Okay, Korea. Emergency radio, called the Gibson Girl, I guess because of its curves. Okay, a pilot in a Thunderbolt probably wouldn't have anything like this. It's just too bulky, too heavy. But maybe they would be seen in the water. They would drop a raft. This would be with the raft. and then he could talk to an aircraft that might save him. Korean War is a forgotten war. Even some of the people I talk to who come through here, they seem resentful about it. And you've always heard it's a forgotten war because it's the first war that we didn't flat out win. Now we got a bunch of wars.
We never signed armistice, did we?
Yeah.
We just left.
The president's working on it, rest assured.
Yeah.
Sea rations.
Yeah.
Sea rations. The new ones are the MREs, that down below.
Yeah.
I never liked the MREs. I didn't have a whole lot of experience with them, but they're flimsy. With the cans, you could open that, stick it right in the fire. You got your little handle right on it.
Where's your John Wayne?
It's in there somewhere. What's that?
The can opener.
I have more than enough hold of a truck.
I had those.
Where's her ham loaf?
Yeah, we sold a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, remember?
But they,
The
I
omelet.
like some cheese right now. You know, give me pound cake and peaches, and I'd be just as happy as I would.
You get the eggs.
Don't get
But then
that,
on the
that
other
the
end of the
omelet.
spectrum, you had ham and lima beans.
Yeah.
Ham and, we always say the word.
You're in the shot.
Sorry.
No, I'm just kidding.
They would throw, the ham and lima beans would get thrown back at you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You were the last one to hit the box. You'd be looking around and your beans and franks and spaghetti go first and the stew and the rest is
I went for the ham. Ham was my favorite.
Yeah.
And I could still gouge it out on it. But you got to see them though. See, the thing with us though is they were turned over. It was just luck. You couldn't pick and choose what you wanted. Once you grabbed it and took it out, you had to live with it. But I never went out. Well, one day we went 3 days without food. But aside from that, there was always more food that you could use.
Yeah.
I thought. But with the MREs, it's flimsy. It won't stand up. You have to mix it, and it's a little flimsy plastic.